Thank you for coming. The third AlphaMarket Growth Investing Summit. I'm Brian Smiga. I'm an investor. I'm the co-founding partner at Alpha Partners, and I'm very, very proud of the way we built up Alpha in these last 2 years. It's a fantastic lineup in which to learn about growth investing from leaders like Devin Parekh of Insight. Other speakers will include 3 great growth companies, Shield AI, Glowforge, and Built Reward. And then in addition, we have a lineup of 7 experts in growth investing and crossover investing. So there's a lot to learn, there's a lot to cover. So that's the lineup. Thank you so much for your interest and or your participation in Alpha.
We're absolute return investors. So we have very patient investors, and our investors would rather have us go in with full conviction than not. We're not hype chasers. We're looking for real businesses that are really exciting and have that asymmetric return profile.
And so it's so exciting to be with the people here today.
Now it's my pleasure to introduce today's keynote speaker, Devin Parekh.
So, the interesting thing is if you look at the computing power on the device that we all have, it's got more lines of software code and more computing capacity than the Apollo spacecraft had in 1969 going to the moon. Now, I happen to love that line, but I actually didn't write it. It was written by ChatGPT when I asked it to come up with a response to write an opening line for a speech on the impact of software. The impact on the economy from AI, from productivity enhancement, is trillions of dollars of GDP. And there's 10 or 15 different reports on this topic. But that revolution is happening across every industry. As companies invest in the promise of the future, about $1 trillion will be invested in software this year, which is roughly the size of the GDP of Saudi Arabia. Software has still performed extraordinarily well, right? So this is, if you invested in the S&P 500 in 2005, you're up 275%. If you invested in software, you're up 1,000.
I discovered this weird backwater technology called CNC laser cutting engraving. It had been developed in the 60s and 70s. And the global market for this was sub-$100 million. Nobody was investing in it. Nobody was paying attention. And one thing led to another, and I wound up with this industrial carbon dioxide cutting laser imported from China, installed in my garage. And it was terrible. It took me weeks to get the thing working. But there was this magic where I discovered you could push a button, and in minutes, something truly beautiful would come to life. And this could create them, and it worked across a whole host of materials. Paper and stickers, wood and acrylic, cloth, cardboard, you name it. You could even engrave stone and metal and create really amazing things that we used throughout the house, built things, organizers, spice racks like you saw there. World. What it would be like to empower the 85 million crafters in the United States with a digital tool that could take their ideas and bring them to life across so many different materials. So I brought my bag as an example. This is created on a Glowforge 3D laser printer out of leather, and you'll notice it holds exactly my stuff. It's got a pocket for each one of my things. It is designed just for me and for the things that I carry with. My watch band, also made on a Glowforge out of wood and leather, fits me and no other human in this universe. It is owning a Glowforge is owning a world in which you get to create the things you imagine for yourself and for the people you love. And that was our newest product, the Glowforge Aura, which brought the price point down from our previous flagship model at $5,000 to $7,000 to just $1,200, launched in just this July, new to market. In fact, you know what? If you want to ignore me for a minute or two, go open up Instagram on your phone. Search for #Glowforge. You can see in live, real time, what our customers are creating in this very moment. I can't promise you what you're going to see. I don't know. But it's this world of creation. You'll find almost 400,000 creations that people have posted already, and that number is growing exponentially because the power of creation is tied to sharing.
For years now, this is not a new problem. Cost of living is going up every single year. Every year. I mean, it is so hard to get ahead. You do everything right. You go to college, you take out the student loans, You graduate, you get a great job, you work the 12, 14 hours a day, and you look at your bank account at the end of the month, and it's like, how the hell are you supposed to get ahead, right? And then on top of that, you've got rent prices going up. As Laura said, people pay rent every single month. There's 109 million people in this country paying rent. It's their single biggest expense. Paying rent does nothing to build your credit, which is kind of crazy when you think about you signed a 12-month, $30,000, or in New York, $60,000 annual contract, and at the end of the year, you have nothing to show for it. You get no rewards. I can buy everyone a round of drinks and we'll earn points and miles to book a flight, but you pay your rent, you get nothing. And after 12 years of renting, you're no closer to home ownership. The whole thing makes no sense, right? So today, Built is the payments and rewards platform for almost all the major multifamily and single-family rentals companies in this country. If you go to pay your rent, and many of you that live at rental apartments in New York probably use Built, you pay your rent through Built. For the first time ever, everybody who pays their rent builds their credit with all 3 credit bureaus for free. You earn the most valuable points and miles in the country with every rent payment. We've partnered with over 100 airlines, hotels, e-commerce platforms. So when you pay your rent, you're getting United miles, American miles, British Airways miles, Emirates miles, Virgin miles, all of that instantly. And we spent 18 months in Washington, D.C. changing the regulations so that for the first time, paying your rent actually boosts your credit and qualifies you for a Fannie, Freddie, or FHA mortgage. And more importantly, you can use those points as an eligible source of funds on a down payment for the first time.
It's obviously a really apt time and unfortunately really relevant time to be talking about the sort of future of sort of war and sort of the systems that the military is using.
Founded Shield AI to protect service members and civilians with artificially intelligent systems. Founded the company in 2015. In pursuit of that mission, we're building the world's best AI pilot and applying it to a variety of different aircraft. We are the only company in the world with an aircraft that can operate without GPS, without communications, and without a remote pilot. We are also the company in the world with the most flight hours flying fighter jets completely autonomously. So that's just some additional background context that the video may or may not have provided. 98% of what a drone is doing is, or really the majority of aviation assets outside of like fighter jets that really have a specific mission, it is intelligence collection, right? And that's, again, and I appreciate that that's not obvious if you haven't been in the military or worked with these systems. And it was the same in the SEAL teams, right? 98% of what we were doing was not actually like employing lethal force. It was the mission planning. It was, okay, reviewing the intelligence. It was, working with our aviation squadrons to get where we needed to go. Then it was even working with the local population on trying to identify where Al-Qaeda was or where the Taliban was, right? A lot of that intelligence gathering. And then, yes, 1 or 2% of the time, right, we had to employ lethal force to accomplish our mission. Very, very similar in the sense with drones. Most of the time they're flying, they are simply collecting intelligence.
At these tables, each of the panelists and speakers will host a table. So instead of doing a massive Q&A, you can pick the table and the speaker you want to interact with and come spend time with them. So this is an unprecedented chance to have a private conversation with them or a semi-private conversation with them for 20 minutes over a glass of wine or your favorite beverage. One of the features of the AlphaMarket conference is most of the speakers and companies will stay at the end and host a roundtable with an open bar where you can ask them more intimate questions and get to the questions we didn't give you time for during the proceedings.
Thank you so much. We really enjoyed presenting today and look forward to a bright future into 2024. We're more excited today than we've ever been